Hello, welcome to Before Your Eyes Information Forum. We are going to be looking at some specific data, this time provided to us through the Portland State University, and Professor Tom Podolsky in his role there as for Economic Research Center has provided us with a data set of population over a 50-year period from the year 2000 to the year 2051 over the following designated areas. We have 7 specific locations, being the counties of the greater Portland area. And within that, we have, so there are the 7 on the inner frame, and there are 7 represented on the XY grid. And then on the inner, after the inner frame, we have a separation between male and female, and within each group we have 16 age groupings, which we'll see in a moment. So the one diagram is able to handle the entire data set, so to speak, from a structural point of view, and we are looking at here a 2-dimensional interpretation of this data set here through a linear graph. And we're going to drill down. Before we drill down, you must realize that what you see on the left is linear and on the right is structural, and is actually a 3-dimensional object that has been rendered of all the data, not just a partial subset of the data. So we are looking at literally the data set on the right hand side, and that will be more obvious as we go through the data itself. So let's choose, let's say, Multnomah. And within Multnomah we've chosen males, so we've gone down 2 levels, and within this second level now we are looking at a far more detailed review of the age group. So we're looking at here the head-on age group as it was in the year 2000, and the future time, or the future projected time, this will be the age graph, where there will be obviously a lot more older generations than there were previously, as you can see clearly. And over that time period, you'll notice a very clear motion over time of like a wave pattern that seems to increase over time into the older generation, starting from the earlier generation and following its way through. And we'd expect to see this in a 3-dimensional view of that, which we're about to look at over here. So on the right hand side, quite simply, is a time barrel of the same set data with the age groupings in the circumference, and starting from age 0 all the way going through to age 85. So it matches up in its entirety, and it actually is a lot clearer once you view it and you start looking at this scheme and the structure. What you have in essence is, in age groups 10 to 14 in the year 2002, you can start to see that motion start to creep up the line, and it creeps up the line continuously over the age groupings and over the population until it seems to top out at age 64, 60 or odd, and then the entire population increases at that point in time proportionally, and one is able to see that in a format of obviously that structure. We're able to take this a little bit further now, and let us drill down more specifically, and let's choose males 5 to 9 age, and I've just prepared that prior, so here it actually is. If you go back, males 5 to 9, and this is what it looks like in a histogram, and here we can see it much clearer in the time barrel of the specific. We can see the proportionality and attributes, and we can also, obviously, just to confirm, go back to the structure itself and compare it within the structure and take it from that standpoint. Going back to the physical concept of the time barrel, as we looked at it previously, we might want to see this as individual elements. And you'll note that I'm obviously playing a lot with clicks and the mouse, because that's all that's really necessary, just to click your way through this. And the system essentially is able to generate different views for you on the fly. So quite simply here, we're going to change from the standard to an index method. Index is going to give us a structure that looks similar to that. We're going to set it to the delta setting, and then we have got a comparison of something fairly interesting, because what we are looking at now is essentially those elements, and they start in the green over here, is 04, and end right next to it obviously was 85 plus. But the interesting thing is that you can actually see the changes in the group by this color as it goes, and it becomes ever increasing higher and higher. And then you have this actual flute in the shape of the age grouping, which matches exactly, obviously, the flute that we had when we were at, and let's just choose a higher one this time, 85. And the 85 flute looks like this, looks like that in the histogram. And in terms of this one over here, 85 is right next to the green, so we are right here at 85. The shape of that one is at that point over there. So the population swing is quite dramatic. We're actually able to see that from various visuals and how they're able to portray their positions. Probably that's a better angle to have a look at that 85 plus in relative context to what we saw before. We had delta, so we're going to see it there, and that's about the max that you can see it at in terms of. So the interesting fact is that we are able to see this from a variety of angles and a variety of structures, either individually or through the vortex structure itself, or alternatively, as we've just seen, individually through the index structure, and wrapping that up into two, male and female, from that point of view, or alternatively doing male and female from a combined standpoint over here, where we look at multnomah and we're looking at male and female as one combined structure, whereas we can see that exact same structure independently and individually. Obviously, if we drill down there, we would see that matches up naturally with one of these structures over here. And this is set to node, and this one is set to delta, so we get back very quickly to the structures to make sure that they are in harmony with one another. And from here we are able to go a little bit further and perhaps review independently some of the finer aspects of this. And let's go down to age grouping 15 to 19, and we can see the structure of what that data looks like, and where that so-called baby boom came in and kicked in, and how it looks a little bit further down the line. With that said, much appreciated. I think we've covered as much as we can possibly cover on one subject matter of this data. Welcome to obviously visit with us on Before Your Eyes channel. We'll be making these things available, and it was a pleasure to utilize the data of Dr. Tom. It really provided an eye-opening opportunity. Many thanks to him for allowing us to utilize that. And once again, thank you for viewing information via the spatial database of Before Your Eyes. Thank you.